as promised, I sanded it out today. I shot the rest of the clear on there, and we're going to discuss weights and measures. And as soon as some more people get in, I'll give you the weights of everything so that you know what you can get away with. Now, the clear is on it, but it's rather dull right now. I mean, the wings are shiny, but I've sanded the nose with 3000 grit sandpaper. You know, it's still pretty fresh, this paint, pretty green. So I can't really bear into it, but now we're going to start bringing up the shine on this airplane. And if you don't think it'll bring up the shine, let me show you. Let me change the view here so you can get, oh, you do have the overhead view. Yeah. So let's zoom in because this is kind of important. Looks like we got 4 people in here. We'll discuss weights and measures as soon as we get 5 or 6. Oh. Now I just sanded that with 3000. It'll look like a bowling ball here in a second. So it's rather dull. We got 5 in here. Okay, let's talk about weights. Now I went against my own better judgment. I usually only use 1 quart of paint. And when I started this model, started finishing, it weighed 24.3. With 1 quart of paint on it, that includes half a quart for substrate and half a quart for top coat, it ended up weighing 30.9. So it's about a 6.5 ounce finish. And I could have left it at that, but it was pretty nose heavy. So I decided that I was going to put 1/2 quart more of clear dope on it, which I did today. This thing ended up 32.8. So this is what an 8.5 ounce finish will do for you. It's come into balance pretty close, but it is going to gas off some. And now we're going to start bringing this up so that it's glossy. So I've sanded it with 3000. This is a 3M rubbing compound. It is pretty green, this paint, but you can still buff green paint. You just can't bear down on it and get it too hot. You'll get an idea what this airplane is going to look like with 1.5 quart of dope on it. I'm just starting out slow here so as not to fling all the compound all over everywhere. I have about 2 ounces of dope left in that quart clear for any touch-up that I may have to do, which undoubtedly there will be. Do not stop because this paint is pretty damn fresh. You'll burn it and then you'll be crying. But it does rub easy the first go around when it is this fresh. Or you can wait till it gets hard. You can wait a month or whatever. I don't. I normally start buffing as soon as possible. Because it takes a month to buff them out. Of course, we won't be buffing for a month on camera because that'll bore you. I got to think of another project to do. Okay, so there's the first go around. Wipe this compound off. Starting to come around. So the airplane's, like I say, 52 ounces right now. It's not bad. Let me get a new pad for the polishing compound. I don't really like contaminating one pad with the other compound because one is finer grit than the other. And we'll use the orange pad for the polish. If you feel this thing starting to drag, you better stop, because if it's dragging, you're burning. But there's lots of paint on this airplane now, 1.5 quart. Now I use the Finesse It. And this thing will shine like a jewel. And we got to do the whole airplane. Bringing the heat up slow. Slinging this shit everywhere. Slinging it everywhere. So we'll buff for an hour. And you can see your face in that real good. Now I'll spray on some of my stuff. I love the smell of this stuff. Yep, no good. And because it's soft, you don't want to have any foreign object on there. So I just was getting ready to pull off that last towel off the roll. If there's any glue on it, it'll dig right into it. And of course, we'll have to come back in a month or so and do this again. At least the hard work will be done. That looks pretty good. So you want to, we'll bone it out in a month, and that's with 5,000 grit. But that don't look too bad. Some scratches right here, though. Okay, for you guys that have just joined, I talked about weights and what you can get away with. 1 quart of paint is a 6.5 ounce finish on a model this size. A quart and a half is an 8.5 ounce finish, and that's what we got here. But I needed that extra finish to move the center of gravity back, and it balances about right now. I know people are saying, you can't polish dope that fast. Well, you're watching me do it. Gotta let it dry. Yeah, I guess. The only thing is this will haze up in a couple of weeks. It'll not be as shiny, but see, I've got all the work done, and it worked easy because it was soft. A spot right there. That'll go away. That'll go away. Okay, let's zoom out. I just wanted to show you up close how the shine kicks in. And like I say, it will shine even more in a month when it hardens up. But I'll have all the work done. You can see my hand up here. Let's see. My hand is 2 foot away from the airplane. You can see I'm holding 4 fingers. We're 2 foot up from that. So pretty good shine. So we need to zoom out here. And it's all about the Zen now. This is called color sanding. We're going to sand the whole thing again and again and again and again. Okay, for those people who just joined, before finish, the model started out at 24.3 ounces. With 1 quart of dope on it, finish, it was 30.9 ounces. That's a 6.5 ounce finish, approximate. I could have stopped there. I could have polished it there, but it needed the CG to move back. So I added another half a quart of paint. It ended up at 32.8. So we're at 52 ounces even right now with the airplane. It was at 50, and we're now at 52 even. So now it's just a matter of sanding and rubbing and polishing, and the real work begins now. I mean, this is a long process to sand all this stuff. So we're going to start with This is 2,000. That's 1,000. 1,000's too much. We'll start with 2,000. No, there's 2,000. Move to 3,000 and then start buffing. I just did the nose because it's the easiest. We'll get on the wings here. It's all this sanding. Mucho sando. I suppose I could go to the other camera so you can see what I'm doing. Bucks and shit. We're listening for any grinding. If you get any grinding, that's where you want to sand. Used to freak John out. I'd take the airplane home from his house and immediately get back to sand. Well, I'm doing the same thing. Thank you, Ronald. I would get back to sanding within the hour. Because I know, and especially if you're using urethane, I know how hard it is to sand urethane. Well, it's hard to sand the dope too. So if you got it while it's soft, it's a lot easier to sand than when it's hard. People think that the paper loads up. It doesn't. Just keep it good, nice and wet. If it is loading up, stop. You don't want to grind in any debris into the paint. What I'm trying to do now is make it all flat, and then we'll hit it with compound. Anybody that's new to the channel, please go back and watch. I built 2 of these in the last 2 months, 3 months or whatever. Starting in September, I built the orange one. I think we're going to build another one. I'm not sure the plans are going to be ready today, but I have the preliminaries. They look pretty good. They just need a few tweaks. Okay, that's the first go around. Now I hit it with 3,000. Hey, Todd. Okay, that was 2,000. You can start with 1,000, except it's really too soft for 1,000 right now. 1,000 is pretty aggressive. Now we're on 3,000. And before this goes to the Nationals, I'll have done this 3 or 4 times. Hey, John, if you do another Viper, what are your ideas for doing some things different? I think I'm going to build the different model. I'm going to build a straight edge model to see the comparisons between the two, so I can fly them back to back. I'll build a Viper 5, the Super Glide model. The same airplane as this with a straight trailing edge. More swept in the forward leading edge. Same wing, just moved back. And that way we can see the difference in how they fly. Just to reaffirm my suspicions that this was the better flying airplane. The Super Glide flew just like modern day airplanes with, they just ho-hum, just so, you know. But I want to make sure, so I'll build a straight trailing edge one. The Super Glide is the one that was in the 94 edition. This one was designed in 91. This is prior to 4 or 5, I mean. And I thought this was the better flying airplane out of the bunch of them. Viper 4 was a foam wing rendition that I needed to get done real quick for SIG, and it had a VF-46 in it. That's the red wing one, that's red with a white fuselage. Viper 3 had a VF-46 in it. Well, I guess Viper 3 was pretty close to 5. Just a little chunkier. This one here came out lighter than my orange one. About an ounce lighter. I built these in all configurations. That was the day of experimenting. I was experimenting with different airfoils and different shaped wings. And I found that the shoe airfoil was the best. Face red heart shape. I don't know what that is. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. I'll be doing a show tomorrow night, but I want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. There's a lot to be thankful for. Be thankful you're viewing the dirt from the green side. And I got to be real careful with the polisher on this because this is open base. I could easily screw this up. Happy Thanksgiving, Henry. Okie dokie, let's start polishing. First go around. Thank you, R3R, or I don't know what that is, but thank you. I'll have to go back on Razor. I'll have to go back and see how many days this took to get here. Not very many. Maybe 50. Yeah, man, it's tough. Yeah, it's tough. I'm not pulling all the way down on the trigger. I'm just holding it like halfway. They don't want all this compound to sling all over me. Like I say, it'll take 2 or 3 times doing this to get her to shine like Monaco. I built one in 38 days. I built the orange one in 38 days. I think this is, I started this in September, I believe. End of September. Starting to drag now, so about time to clean it off. All right. Yeah, everything I build is from scratch. I built this orange one in 38 days. I'll show you that one. The orange one there hanging on the wall was built in 38 days. From the first piece of wood cut till it was finished. 38 days. And it's the same airplane. But you got to realize that's not 38 hours. That's 400 hours in 38 days. Many 12-hour days, many 10-hour days. But Beamer's build, no, it doesn't take a long time to scratch build. Beamer's built pretty quick. Why do you think Jack Sheiks could build one airplane a month? They're all Beamers. Once you know how they look really complicated, but once you know the system, they're simple. Absolutely simple. You just got to cut one rib size. That's it. Yeah, that's pretty good for the first rub out, I think. Let's get some of the magic juice on here now. I got a ways to go. Nope, 60. Super Tiger 60. Get the magic juice on here. Make her beautiful. I know it's done when I can hear the static when I'm doing this. And it ain't done yet. It's got a long ways to go. But we'll get one rub out of the top of the airplane. Like I say, I'll be doing this for a month. Get rubbed out perfect. I just want to see what it's going to look like, and looks like it's going to be okay. Foam board yet. This is all balsa tissue dope. Yeah, I think this side looks better than the other side, so go back to the other side. And before the Nationals next year, I will have done this another 5 times, maybe more. Sanded, rubbed. I don't know what yee-hum. I don't know that word, yee-hum. Gotta remember, I'm old, I'm stupid. Oh, yeah. I plan to build a SIG Super Chipmunk or a Vector from a kit, aside from using light wood. Yeah, use my finishing method. Um, a lot of people get wrapped up in this shine. Well, this shine doesn't come from paint, it comes from sanding. You only get 1 quart of paint, especially on a model that little. This was done in a quart, but I needed the extra weight to balance it. And you'll find that most people who build those type airplanes don't put themselves on a diet. They'll just say, well, it's not quite shiny enough, add some more dope. Add some more dope, add some more dope. Well, that airplane should be 40 ounces, not 60. It should be 40. So shoot your goal for 45 and keep weighing every part as you're going. And if you have to make 2 parts to get a lighter one, well, so be it. I mean, I've built enough of these to know what every part should weigh on the outside. You know, like when I say a crutch weighs 3 ounces, that's what they normally weigh. So anything you can shave off of that. This one was 1 3/4 ounces, so I saved myself 1 1/4 ounces. Landing gear should be 3 ounces. This was 1 1/2 ounces, so I saved a 1/2 ounce there. The elevator stabilizer is 3 ounces. This one weighed 2.4, I think, so I gained another 1/2 ounce there. And you just start weighing all these parts. You know, I know what it should weigh, and if it doesn't weigh that, remake the part, because you'll never get it back at the end. You have to continually stay on top of things. Don't go, well, this is 3 1/4. I can make it up somewhere else. No, you can't. Because what happens is it progressively gets worse. Oh, this is only 2.1 ounces. It's supposed to weigh 2, but it's 2.1. I'll just make it up. No, you won't. You won't make it up somewhere else. It'll get worse. So that's how you build light. You got to make 2 or 3 parts. So be it. You can't believe how many elevator stabilizers I've thrown in the trash. Usable to some, but not to me. Okay. Here we go. First round of sanding on this side. This is 2000 grit. I'll sand it with 2000 to knock the tops off. I'll come back with 3000, then we'll polish. And just before I get ready to go to the nets, wingspan on this is 58 inches. 740 square inches. Howard says 780, but I say 740. Just before I get ready to go to the nets, I'll do this again. Well, I'll do this several times before then. Whatever airplane I'm going to take the nets, I'll take the 5000 grit out and sand the whole airplane one more time. and polish it. You know, it might take a month to do this. You don't worry about it. It takes what it takes. I think it's a shame that they only allow 20 points for appearance when you have to put in so much work. Appearance should be worth at least one maneuver. So 0 to 40, not 10 to 20, 0 to 40. Yeah, all this work. Work. You'll see me do this, and we'll polish, but I'll do it 2 or 3 more times tonight, the whole thing. Maybe not tonight. Between now and tomorrow, it'll be sanded 2 or 3 more times. This is what I mean by you know, just because the build is over and the paint is on it doesn't mean the sanding is done. Just beginning. It's just beginning. Because unless you do what I do, you will not get a nice dope finish. I mean, it'll be shiny, but it won't be like a baby grand piano unless it's hand rubbed. Okay, that's 2,000. Thank you, Marcel. Let's hit this camera here. Well, it looks pretty flat here. I mean, don't worry. I didn't kill it yet. Lunch break. Shit. Dinner time here. I gotta turn this heat off. Man. It's about 9,000 degrees in here. Working up a sweat. I gave a preview of the plans today. Steve is correcting some of the things I was talking about. And maybe we'll have them tonight or tomorrow or whenever, but we should get them here shortly. I'm going to do a cheaper form of the plans without the CD or the video as a pre-release, pre-Thanksgiving or whatever. And then when I get the whole package together, they'll be a little more expensive. Because I want you to succeed in building this airplane. You'll throw rocks at all that other stuff if you can build it light. They're not available yet. I've got a set of them. I'm going to make them available online. I've got a set that are being drawn. They're just not quite right. We're getting the corrections made. Three sheets. You get a part sheet and then a layout sheet, but you better know how to build a beam. You know, this is not a model for a novice builder. It's for somebody that can either watch and follow my directions on the video or somebody who has already built the beam wing airplane. Because there's probably 300 hours of video of me building these two airplanes. Maybe 200 hours, because he told me he worked on 60 hours of one, or there's a lot of video on there of me building this airplane and explaining how it's done to get it this light. Of course, you got to have light wood. Can't build light airplanes with heavy wood. No way. But this is all 5-pound wood, and it still came out 52 ounces. It's not 4 and 3-pound wood like I used to get, or it'd be lighter. There's even some 7-pound wood in this, but not much of it. Okie dokie. There's the first round of sanding. Now it's time to bring out the shine. I'll be wrapping the lead outs here in the next couple of videos, gluing the flaps on, getting the bench trim done. Be ready to fly, and there'll be nowhere to fly. Yep, can be built pretty easy. Just got to have the fortitude to do it, stick-to-itiveness. I mean, I explain it 100%. Anything I can do, you guys can do. I built an F2E back in 2000 with styrofoam leading edge, like an F2D Combat. I did too. My Tucker's built like that. Got a foam leading edge. It's a D-tube, foam D-tube with the ribs plugged into it. Good way of doing things. Yeah, I learned all this because I never had any money. And my dad said, "You'd be glad you did." He was right. It's strong, but anytime, in my opinion, anytime you're sacrificing strength for weight is no good. Now, I talked to the guys at Top Flight at the Nats one year. I had my Monado, the one that won the concourse. And I was over at the RC field. They had Top Flight had a booth there. And I said, "Hey, I need you, they knew who I was. I said, I need you guys to teach me how to monocoat." So, why do you want to monocoat? And I brought my airplane to show him. I said, "Well, it'd be lighter." He said, "Well, how much is the finish on this?" And I said, 6 ounces. He goes, "No way. We can't beat that." So monocoat is not, and I don't, there's some guys that do beautiful monocoat work. I cannot take away from that. It is hard to do because there is no room for error in monocoat. When you do the woodwork, it has to be perfect. Like when I'm doing this, if I see a spot, go, "Oh, I don't like that spot," I'll just resand it and repaint it. You can't do that with monocoat. Once you put it down, it's on there. There's a guy I know down in Memphis, Lewis Rankin. He can do a monocoat job. It looks like a paint job. It's absolutely beautiful. Can't see the seams anywhere. Does the trim and all that. They're just great. But it's just not for me because I've been a traditionalist all my life. Silk and dope, tissue and dope. This is what I know. So some guys like polyspan. Polyspan's a great covering material. You don't mind the weight. It takes twice the dope to fill as it does this lightweight silk span. This is free flight silk span. This is not gas model silk span. And people say, "Well, you poke a hole in it." Well, you're not supposed to poke a hole in it. You gotta be careful. I poked a bunch of holes in it building it. But you have to realize that the covering doesn't get its strength from the paper. It gets its strength from the dope. So now that we got it locked up with all this dope on it, it's getting tougher. The paper is just to hold the dope. Using a foam pad with titties on it so that it gets down in between the ribs. Gotta be careful though. I got a big buffer. I got a Makita car buffer. If you use a car buffer on this, it'll shine quick. But if you grab the trailing edge, it'll flip it across the room. Don't do that. Let's see how it looks. Make it shine. Make it shine, make it shine. It'll take a lot more polishing. More rubbing. But you guys get the idea of what it takes to do a finish like this. This is my 5th sand out and go around of the entire airplane after starting to finish. It's called monochromatic razor. It's something I learned in art school. Starting to come around. Get a little magic juice on it to clean up some of the compound, see what it looks like. A little magic juice. They'll be gluing these flaps on here a couple of days. As soon as they get it polished out for the first go around, we'll glue the flaps on it. Man, got a long ways to go. Slinging the goop everywhere. Slinging the goop. Yeah. I'm putting more into this finish than I did the orange one. The orange one still needs to be rubbed out. We'll get around to that here shortly. It's only so many hours in a day, and you guys don't want to see me rub and sand, so I got to build something. So I'll be not quite sure what I'm going to do. I got to see what the wood situation looks like. If I can't build a light airplane, I won't build it. It's a waste of time. I still want to try my brown paper bag airplane. We'll go another hour. Dinner time's an hour. I believe yeah. I believe I can build a stunt ship with a brown paper bag. a light one. A grocery shopping bag. But that's going to entail me building some molds. Coming out smooth now. That's good. Change camera angles. Yeah, I'm not going to use foil. I'm going to use a bag. Brown shopping bag. Epoxy resin, half-ounce cloth, and a brown paper bag. Yeah, I can put my thumb on that. And it feels warm. You got to get the dough hot to get it melting. The molecules melting into each other. Okay, let's get a new towel. Some spray goop on there. See what it looks like. Yeah, the shine is on the left, where that's the one I first did. That's the one I'm working on. Shit, it's a good thing I cut my fingernail. Good thing I cut my fingernail. It'll come around. If you're not a member of this channel, please consider joining becoming a paid subscriber for as little as $4.95 a month, or for as much as $25 a month. It helps the channel. It helps Stun Hanger. We ain't making no money at this, I can tell you that right now. Or if you don't feel like becoming a paid subscriber, super chat or super thanks. Yeah, looking pretty good. Can't believe I got to hit that again. Where else can you get this information? How to do this? Okay, let's get a shinometer on it. And now you can see my fingers in it. Well, let's see here. Yeah, it's way over my head here. It's pretty good there. It'll be better when I shine it some more. Whew. Take a break here for a second. Been rubbing for an hour straight. Oh yeah, we need to do that all the way along the whole thing. That heat, bringing that heat up really melts the paint together, but you got to watch it because if you bring it up too much, it'll burn it. It's terrible. Ask me how I know. When I went over to Wix Aircraft, I took one of these airplanes, because I got Wix on this. They sell me all my dope. They don't sponsor me, but they sell me all my dope. And Scott's a pretty nice guy. He says, "Man, you get a shine like that out of dope?" Yeah, a lot of work. A lot of work. So this is the first go around. That's pretty good. Pretty good. Pretty good. I'll work on the fuselage behind the canopy. Need to zoom out some. Let's see. We are zoomed out. It's just that it's close. Yep. You guys got any questions on how I do this? I mean, that's the reason for this channel, is so that you can ask me questions on how to achieve an airplane with a finish like this, or built like this, or whatever I happen to be doing at the time. It can see my face, and it can shave. But if you go back to the beginning of this video and compare the looks of the paint before rubbing and after, you can see the difference. It was shiny, but it didn't have that hand rub look. And that's the look I like. The look that takes 100 hours to get. Most people are not disciplined enough to sit down and do this correctly for 100 hours. I'll do whatever it takes. When you set a beam wing on the flight line and the sun hits all these facets, it's just like a glistening diamond. They're just gorgeous. It's going to take a lot of work to get this flat, though. I would say 2 or 3 more rub outs. Hey, Frank. Thank you. Looks like monocoat. Where'd you get that colored monocoat, mister? Oh, I need a drink of water. We'll work on the back half, I guess. Sure feels heavier than 52 ounces, but that's what it is. And I can prove it to you if you'd like. I liked it better at 50, but it wouldn't have flown very good because it was way too nose heavy. Let's split them up into 2 cams, I guess. Huh, can't do it. Oh, I know why. I'm trying to do it on the screen here. Let me see. Can't do that. I don't know what I'm doing here. Priority. Yeah. I don't want that. Autofocus. Advanced settings. Nope, can't do that. Yeah, we can leave it like that, I suppose. Yeah. We'll just go on then. It'll look more like plastic the more I rub it. Because it is plastic. That's what dope is, plastic. It's your job to make it look plastic, that's all. Let's see, we want to switch the angles, I think. You feel it and you feel any rough spots, you got to sand them and polish them. There's a rough spot right there. Let's do the finesse. You know what? I think I need another titty one for these ribs. We'll use another dimpled pad instead of that. And there's, and by the way, there's different coarseness of pads here. The red is more coarse than the blue. So let's try a red and see what it does. Maybe it'll take it off a little faster. I got a blue out too to see what it does. Let's use the compound with the red and finesse it with the blue. Let's try. See, I see a spot right there. I know this is not the most interesting thing going. Well, you can tell the difference in the pad. This is hard, this pad. I don't think it's a good idea to use this one. It's too hard. So we'll use this blue one with finesse it on it. Let me put a P or an F on it, so I can tell the difference between the two. This is F. Pink Heart Plain. Stud Guy. Yeah, that's right. F. Spend 400 hours building it. Take it out on a windy day and risk it. Smash it in the ground at 5 foot. That's exactly correct. Okay, let's do the finesse here. This is the second time I've gone over this wing. I'll go over the other wing again too. I'm looking more now for perfection. Before I was just trying to get it leveled off. Now, you'll be able to tell the difference. This is the second polish. You'll be able to tell the difference between the first quarter here and the second quarter. And all this work comes down to one thing: personal preference of what do you want? What are you willing to accept? Some guys will go through all day. So, well, it's blue. That's close enough. I can't do that. I just cannot put everything out of the field that isn't polished and super nice looking. As good as I can do. If you guys only knew, the guys I flew with in the 70s, them guys were on the rail. And I know it was a long time ago, 50 years ago, but the airplanes of the 60s and 70s were finished way, way, way better than the ones today, except for the first 3 rows at the Nats. I mean, they're all good airplanes. But everybody out at Whittier Narrows had super nice airplanes. Yep, that made a difference there. Just that little polish in there on that. There's a difference between here and here. Even though here is shiny, this is shinier. You're going to be able to see your face and everything. You need to be able to shave in it, you know. So now we'll finesse the this quarter here. This the 2 polishes I use are 3M rubbing compound 06085 and Finesse It, which is 39003. Then for the secret sauce, yes, that is my number. For the secret sauce, I use Turtle Wax Express Carnauba spray cleaner wax. That's what I use to make it pop. And when you wick it back and forth, you'll be able to hear static electricity. When this thing gets smooth enough, it'll start snapping. Pop, 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 pop. You know you got it smooth enough then. If I did it now, it wouldn't snap. It's not near smooth enough. I'm just giving you my secrets, my inside thoughts on how to get a super shiny finish. And they do go, it does pop, pop, pop. It builds up static electricity. You can shock the cat or shock the dog with the static that it'll build up. And this is number 2 on this wing. I'll probably do 5. And then I'll let it rest, and then I do 5 rub outs when it's fresh, and then let it rest for a month, and then do it again, another 5. What I'm doing here is knocking the tops of the hills off. If you wait till it's completely dry, it's a lot more sanding and headache, I think. Some people like to wait till it's dry. This is fresh paint, just painted today, this morning, about 1 o'clock. So it's 8 hours old, the paint. And that's longer than that John painting. I let it go 3 hours and be buffing on it. And after you get all this done, I use Carnauba paste wax on it, but that won't happen for 3 or 4 months. We'll wait till the Nationals to wax it. just before the nap, so wax it up. Do this one more time and wax it up. Because you never know, I might find a spot that I need to touch up, and I don't want to have carnauba wax or the paste wax on it. And yet that spray carnauba wax and shine by Turtle Wax, I can spray dope over it, and it doesn't fisheye. You just wipe it with wax and grease remover, and then spray over it. Now they since have dropped the N number in the United States, but N stood for National, NX stands for National Experimental Model, and this is my AMA number. And if you look at the Vipers that I put up on the opener and all that, the blue Viper with the checks on the leading edge, that had an NX number because in 91 this was an experimental airplane, so it's still an experimental airplane, only a good experiment. I was being asked about what's my plan for the next airplane. Well, if we build another one, we're going to build a model that had the straight trailing edge, and that way I can fly them back to back to to emphasize my decision on the swept forward, because I know that this one was better. What the swept forward leading edge does, it moves the center of pressure forward and allows you to run an airplane that's more nose heavy. And you say, well, nose heavy, it won't turn. Well, it will turn because it's light, first off. And second off, the center of gravity push forward gives you better directional stability. So when you come around, it's locked in. You can't see what I'm doing. So it's locked in forward flight, and then it just, boom, just like the old days. Yeah, they fly good. I should have done that on my Junar when I built that one. I should have moved the lead out, or the trailing edge forward. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with this finish. It's all right. I mean, got problems everywhere. They all do. But it looks pretty good. I'll do the flaps separate. I'll take them off and buff them up in my lap. Now a little secret sauce. Let's see if we can get it to snap yet. Nope, not yet. Not yet. Not yet. Come on now, snap for me. not going to need another polish, I think. Get it smoother. Pretty good though, but it's not quite there. Not quite ready for the snap. Third of the control triangle. Yeah, well, that's 33%. That's pretty common. 28 to 30. But in high winds, my airplanes fly good in the wind because the center of gravity on this airplane is way up here. Not back here like most of the airplanes of today. It's up here, about that far back from the leading edge. The reason why I can get away with it is it's light. And the wing is the trailing edge is swept forward. So it moves the center of pressure forward. What that does for you in the wind, it gives you good directional stability. Now, you're not supposed to fly a nose heavy airplane in the wind. Well, that's just not true. You can't fly a nose heavy airplane that's heavy in the wind. But a light airplane will turn with authority because this airplane flies with more elevator and less flap. And you can only do that with a light airplane. Well, that looks pretty good. I mean, for the second bout, I'm looking down the way here. Get out of the way. If you look down, the wing here, let's see, get my eye angle. If you look down the wing here, you can see that it's starting to, starting to pick up the shine. And the only way that'll pick up that shine is more rubbing. Well, control line is nothing like RC. In trim. We fly a model that's set up like a sprint car with stagger, pitch, and wedge. Only we call it asymmetry, motor offset, and rudder offset. Our planes are designed to turn left, just like a sprint car. Now the thing that happens, hey, I got him. I got one over here. The difference between stagger on a sprint car is for a sprint car that's turning left, it has a smaller tire on the left side or the inboard side and a larger tire on the outboard side. Where in our case, we run a larger wing on the inboard side and a smaller wing on the outboard side. And you ask, why is that? It's so we can use less tip weight. And you say, well, wait a minute, you got more weight because the wing is longer inboard. It also creates more lift. And all that does is offset the weight of the control lines from your handle to the airplane. You want the wings to fly level. And that's the difference between the stagger on a control line airplane and a sprint. The sprint car analogy is the only way that I can really explain how our airplanes are set up. Now the wedge is on a sprint car, they load the axle so that the outboard wheel has more weight on it. So if you ever notice when a sprint car throttles up going down the straightaway, he'll lift his right wheel from torque before he hits the turn. I don't know, it's hard to explain. Actually, it lifts the left wheel and buries the right wheel. Well, we use motor offset as that part of the equation. And then they also do rear steer, which they move the rear axle in a way that the car will go left around the corner. But we use rudder offset. I don't use any rudder offset. I just use an airfoil rudder. But that's the theory. That turned out pretty good for the second go around. That's looking real fine. It'll take, like I say, it'll take some more to get it perfectly buffed. To make it perfect, it's coming. There'll be 100 hours in just doing this. Everything I do is painted. I don't use decal. Let's see if it'll snap with a microfiber. Yeah. Thanks, Terry. Okay, let's hear it snap. Oh, not yet. Not yet. I knew it, I was laying in bed thinking, what's going to look good with blue? I want that, neon sign look. And I said, magenta. And so I got that magenta pinstriping enamel and put it up there and go, that's what I want. And now some people say pink. Yeah, well, whatever. But that's what a neon sign looks like. And then flat lap. That green was mixed for me by Bob Brookins, who has since passed away. It's a pearl. I got a quart of it. Now, I don't think I'd like a whole airplane painted magenta, but we'll use it in trim on something. Well, that's an hour and 40 minutes in it. Yeah, you can see my hand. It's up at camera height there. Yeah, look pretty decent. Yeah, we're getting there. When it cures for another week or so, or a month, and gets hard, it'll shine more. It's soft right now. Just think, I got to do this all over the whole airplane. Yeah, it should glide. This should be shinier than my Monado because there's twice as much dope on it. Monado only has one, well, not twice as much, but yeah, twice as much top coat. If you're talking thin dope, the Monado has 1 quart of thin dope on it on the top, and this has 2 quarts of thin dope on the top. So we should be able to polish the crap out of this. Way up there, you can see my hands in the light. 1 finger. What are the disadvantages of not having flaps on F2B? Well, a non-flapped airplane I think it won the Nationals one year. A Humbug. I think, yeah, Bob Barron flew a Humbug and won that's a non-flapped airplane. I think, you know. There's so many talented guys in this hobby that some guy could fly a 2x4 and win. It's just a matter of how much practice you want to do. I know a toilet seat will fly because I flew one. How good does it fly is not very, but they will fly. I need to get a toilet seat and put an engine on it and do it again because people don't believe me, but it will fly. A brick will fly just if you put enough horsepower to it. Just look at an F4 Phantom. F4 Phantom has a glide ratio of a rock. It's terrible, but it's got big time horsepower and it will fly. And if you look at it, at the tips it has anhedral, and the stabilizer is dihedral. Or no, anhedral at the stabilizer and dihedral at the tips. It just counters each other out. Craziest thing I ever seen. But hey, I'm not an engineer. I'm just a model builder. Well, one year at the Nationals, there was a kid there who flew a tri-engine triplane built with a wing and arrow shafts. And it was the goofiest airplane that you ever saw. But you know what? If you watched it, it really did rule book corners. It really turned. Well, this is good enough for this side. I guess I'll do the other side the next 14 minutes and we'll call it quits. 2 hours. But I wanted to show you what it takes to get a shine. So today it had, I'll show you how much dope I used. Not quite a full quart. The reason why I didn't put this on, let's hold it up here. The reason why I didn't put this on is because this is not enough to make one full coat on the airplane. This is 2 coats worth. And that is not enough to do a full coat. I mean, I got this for touch up in case I screw something up. And as I preached on this channel, for the longest time, dope or the paint is the second heaviest thing on the airplane. First is the engine, then comes the dope. Single item. So now let me show you what it weighs so you know that I'm not BSing you. Let's see, we're gonna look at this scale right here. Power, oh shoot, I gotta get this on here. The holder. There. Okay, we got, can you see that? No. Yeah, you can see it. Oh, tear. 0. Okay, now put the airplane on it. What's that say? Now, you put it down here. It was 52 even, now it's 52.1, but whatever. Let me set it on there again. It's a weird scale, so that's why it's there. $52 ounces. Not too bad for a 60 size airplane. Everything's on it. It's ready to fly. Needle valves in it, fuel lines in it, tip weights in it. Everything is in it. Everything. And it will lighten up. Come tomorrow, it'll be 51 and change. I'm gonna get the bottles out of the way so I don't poke a hole in the wing. What's going on here? There we go. Get too close. Yeah, very light. Remember, weight is horsepower. Yeah, and we ain't done adding elbow grease yet. Weight is horsepower. Where the hell is my ball driver? I need to get them landing gears screwed down before I break them. There it is. Okie dokie. And like I say, it was 50 ounces before I added that last quart of clear on it. So 2 coats of paint is 2 ounces, and that's what it added. And now it balances where it's supposed to. And that's probably the most important thing. Where does it balance? If I could add tail weight with paint instead of lead, more power to it. I don't have any vibrations. Balance prop, balance spinner. Balance prop, balance spinner. My Super Tigers are high zoot. They're not stock. They're Brian Gardner liners, ABC liners. So the engines are lighter than normal. I don't know, ½ ounce lighter than a stock one because it's got an aluminum liner in it. And it has no ring on it. That's the biggest the biggest deal. Yeah, aluminum brass chrome liner. I think they're made in Ukraine. It does have ball bearings front and back. Now here's another little factoid for you gearheads out there. You cannot add enough crankshaft ballast or counterweight to balance an engine. Period. You can drill it and plug it with lead, mercury, whatever. You cannot put enough weight on the counterbalance of a single cylinder engine to completely balance an engine. So anybody that's taking weight off of the counterbalancer is doing the exact opposite of what needs to happen, because the kinetic energy pushing the piston this way has got to have something on the other end to counter it. So there's more force on the piston than there is on the crankshaft. So anybody that's taking weight off a crank to balance it is blowing smoke up your skirt. Now they take weight off the crank to turn more RPM, but it ain't balanced. So a lot of people in this hobby think they know what they're talking about, but not really. The reason why this channel was started, and the reason why Stunhanger started, is because on Stuka, I would say I do things this way, and people would say, you can't do that. And big arguments over what I can and cannot do, just like the 11-day Aries that I built. I built from start to finish on my Christmas vacation when I worked at Harley. I built a Aries in 11 days. First piece of wood cut to in the air in 11 days, and won the Spirit of 62 award with it. That's the blue Aries that I'm holding in front of my 91 Ford Ranger. Let me see. Anyway, they said, well, you can't do that. Okay, great. Well, they even did it on Stunhanger. You know, it's my site, but they're telling me that I can't do that. Well, now I show you I can do that, and there can be no dispute. Can it be done? Yes, and here's what happens. Here's how it works out. This is Missouri. This is the show me state. If you don't believe me, I'll just show you. No problem. That's why I have no problem weighing my model for the world to see. You know, when guys go up to the scales and say, well, my model weighs 52 ounces when it's really 70, you know. Okay, I'll just show you. I'll tell you it's 52 and show you it's 52 or 60. If it was 60, I would tell you it was 60. I wouldn't like it, but I would tell you 60 ounces. I start my engines with a piece of heater hose. Go to AutoZone and buy 2 foot of heater hose, black rubber hose. I got my flight box over there. Black rubber hose. It's about 7/8 in diameter, and I cut off a piece about 8 inches long. And I never, and especially with carbon fiber props, never, ever stick your finger in the propeller. Never. It will bite you. Even if you think I used to prop them with my fingers, but even if you think that you can get away with it, especially a Super Tiger 60, it'll pop you. It'll zap your finger, and it hurts like hell. You know, some guys spinner flip them. I can't do it. I haven't figured out how to do it. So I just turn my airplane upside down, 3-4 drops in the venturi, flip it through a couple times, put the igniter on it, back flip it with a heater hose, and bang, off it goes. Never, ever reach over the propeller like Terry, my friend from England, did. He reached over the propeller to grab it. Never do that. Bob McDonald's got scars on the bottom of his arm here where you can hear zzz, 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 and just cut the crap out of him. Doesn't matter what kind of hurry you're in. Never reach around the prop to take your igniter off. That's why I start them upside down. They're real easy to do from behind when it's upside down. And then as your helper's holding the airplane upside down and you get the starter off and the engine tuned, you just point up like that. He turns your airplane up. You take it from him, turn it back right way, and hand it back to him. Then he sets it down and go. Yeah, chicken sticks I don't like because they got a dowel in them and it'll break your propeller. If the thing pops back, it'll go pop and break the blade off the prop. That's a pisser, especially when you got rev up props like these. These are unobtainium, you can't get them. I hate to lose a rev up prop. I hate it. I got a few, you know, I got everything on my airplanes is rev up. I got a few, but I even ran a 16.45 rev up on my PA-75. Why? Instead of a carbon prop, it weighs half as much. You can have that finger inside the rubber hose business. You know, I'm not saying that my way is the only way. You do it any way you like. Just, I'm making a suggestion. Never stick your finger or, you know, reach over the propeller. Never, perhaps never put your finger in a prop. Never flip it by hand. You know, use a hose, use a chicken stick, whatever. I don't like starters, especially I use a lot of carbon spinners. They will eat up a spinner in a heartbeat. And they leave crappy looking black rings on metal spinners. So I got a starter for those stubborn days. But all right, that's it. We spent 2 hours together. I appreciate you guys watching and the support. Make sure to leave a comment and a like. And if you're not a subscriber to this channel, I'm trying a new category that this is in. I don't know how many people we've had view this in the different categories. I'm trying to get out to more people, and the more that we can push the metrics, the more that this video is populated to people who haven't seen it. So we'll see you tomorrow. Fair winds, tight lines. Keep sanding. See ya. I will play my interview again for the new people. Thank you very much for interviewing me here. And yes, I am the kind of the overseer of Stun Hanger, but it actually belongs to all the modeling. I've been doing control line about 50 years. I started at a very young age, and my father was a good provider for me. He opened a hobby shop so that I could pursue my hobby. And basically this is what's come of it. So he flew in 1948 and he got a second place at the Canadian Nationals. We have 4,500 members, and it's basically all worldwide, and that's why you folks down in, I guess, Argentina are viewing Stunt Hanger. And it started 11 years ago, and it's been a real success. When I was younger, I built, at the hobby shop, probably 3 a month, and now I'm down to about 6 a year, so about 1 every 2 months. This airplane was built 40 days, so I don't know. I'd say it's close to 500. Well, I love Control Line in total. I'm not real sure on the longevity of Control Line because it's very hard to get younger people involved in the hobby. I'm looking that I should be able to build for the rest of my life, another 20 years anyway. Well, there's been a lot of innovations with the electrics and things that have come about. So the future Control Line is basically in the younger generation's hands, and now with the computer generation, and electrics, I foresee it lasting, a while longer. Make sure that you like, subscribe, and share on my YouTube channel at Stunt Hanger at YouTube, and you can also go to www.stunthanger.com and register, and you'll join our Control Line family. So till we see you again. Fair winds, tight lines. See ya.